Alright, so here are my thoughts on the Castle of Cagliostro. So, this is another movie in the Lupin the Third anime franchise. This is the second movie, and obviously the most, notable and, arguably the most critically acclaimed, I guess. Mainly thanks to the director, Hayao Miyazaki. And this is his directorial debut. So, yeah. So, the store. Yeah, this is. And just a side note, this is before Studio Ghibli was formed, but, this is kind of like a precursor to that, I guess. Anyway, so the story is we have Lupin the Third and his colleague Daisuke Jigen, and they steal money from a casino only to find out that it's counterfeit. So they head to Cagliostro, where Lupin suspects the counterfeit money came from, and they do a little investigating, and they find out about Count Cagliostro, who's planning to marry this young lady named Clarice. Um, yeah, and well, by marrying her, they can join these two rings together or something, and it helps point him in the direction of some lost treasure of some kind. And that's the basic rundown of the plot. There's naturally some twists and turns here and there. There's some other characters introduced, mainly the other characters from the show. We have, let's see, we have Fujiko, Lupin's love interest from the main series. And here they changed her up quite a bit. She's, because in the show, she's like always showing herself off. She's like she's like, apparently she's like Ms. Fan Service. And they sexualize her so much. And I could tell just by watching that other Lupin movie. What was it? Mystery of Mamo. But she's they sexual she's a lot less sexualized in this movie, and they seem to put a lot more focus on how tough and badass she is. So definitely seems like something a feminist like Miyazaki would do. And I mean, sure, some people might have preferred the older characters, but I think, I mean, I can't really say I care that much for chicks who exist solely to show themselves off. So this to me is a step up. And also Lupin's less of an idiot, less of a jerk. You know, he's he's a lot more good natured, but you can debate whether that makes him more or less interesting. I mean, flaws definitely make a character more interesting, but it's kind of nice to see him be a little more, well, less of a jerk. I don't know. It's Yeah, I guess I'm on the fence a bit with the change, but I'm not against it or anything. And yeah, I guess they made some little changes to the other characters as well, but not as noticeable. Um, anyway, we also got, yeah, aside from Jigen, there's also Goemon Ishikawa the 13th. Yeah, Samurai, friend, yeah, Lupin, Jigen, and Goemon are like the trio in this series. And apparently, from what I read, Goemon's like a bit more humorous in this movie, but I didn't really notice that. He still seems kind of like, you know, he still seems kind of like a overly serious, yeah, stick in the mud. But I don't know. I guess it's because he makes, or I guess maybe there's some dry jokes, but I don't know. And finally, we got Chief Inspector Koichi Zenigata, the detective who's constantly hunting down Lupin. So, yeah, and in this movie, Lupin and Ishikawa, or sorry, not Ishikawa, sorry, read the wrong name there. Lupin and Zenigata have to join forces at one point, help take down the main bad guy of the movie, Cagliostro. And, the lady's trying to marry Clarice. She actually kind of serves as the love interest in this movie, even though Lupin doesn't actually end up with her at the end. So, yeah. But yeah, they do build up some romance between the two, and yeah. So yeah, this was a very well told story. It's a lot more straightforward than the other one was. The plot is simpler, which I guess can be a double edged sword because the trade off is that it's not. Yeah, I'd probably say the plot line isn't quite as interesting as Mamo was. Cagliostro isn't quite as interesting a villain as Mamo was. I mean, yeah, Mamo had this very interesting plot. He was, threatening, and he knew how to get into the characters' heads, under their skin, etc. Whereas Cagliostro is just kind of a generic, greedy, bad guy. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot to the villain compared to Mamo, but still, this was the story itself was still told much more straightforward. This movie works a lot more as a self-contained story as opposed to the other one, where you might get kind of lost if you don't know, or yeah, if you haven't watched the main anime. But yeah, here it does work as kind of like a self-contained movie, and you don't need a whole lot of pre-introduction to the other characters. So yeah, also they definitely upped the animation. I mean, Hayao Miyazaki is like one of the greatest animators of all time. And yeah, you can see some little moments that do. Well, for one thing, the character designs, mainly the faces of like the original characters that he made, or the designs of like their faces and stuff do look very Miyazaki-ish. A lot like his movies in the future. The Ghibli movies in general. And there's some little animation moments that also look like something you'd see in a Ghibli movie. Like, for instance, there's a moment where like Lupin like dives into like a pipe or something. You see him submerged in water, or I forget if he's submerged or if he's just behind like this stream of water, and like the squiggling effects on his face. Like, it reminds me a lot of like Ponyo or something. Um, and yeah, and yeah, you see some other characters look through the water. Um, so yeah, that was a cool effect. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot you could probably pick apart with all of the little qualities in Miyazaki's animation. Um, but yeah, as like a as like a simple moviegoer who mostly watches movies for entertainment, I can't really claim that I'm an animation expert, but it's I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I can't say, or I mean, in terms of the animation, there's not a whole lot for me to go into detail with, but still, it's great animation. And you know that Miyazaki's work's only going to get better as time goes on. Um, and yeah, the characters are likable, just like they were in the other movie. Maybe a little different than before, but still, I think the changes work perfectly fine. Um, Clarice, there's not a whole lot to her character, but, she's endearing. You care about her. Um, so yeah, probably the only real weak link I can name is Cagliostro himself. Again, he's kind of a generic two-dimensional villain. But yeah, he's not the worst villain I've ever seen. Yeah, he's not the most generic or anything. It's just he's very simple. He is a yeah. Again, he's a downgrade from Mamo is all I'm saying. But still, um, so is there much else that I can really find in here? I mean, I feel like a movie like this deserves to be reviewed in a little more detail, but, I don't claim to be the most experienced in going into little details. I mean, if I did like a scripted review, I could probably do more research and find more things to say, but, this is an off the cuff, yeah, unscripted video, so yeah, I can't really think of much else to say. I mean, there's a few little memorable moments, but yeah, nothing I feel I need to spoil in this video. So, um, yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that for the time being. If there's anything else I feel I need to add, I'll put it in the comments. Um, and I highly recommend this movie to anyone who's fan of anime, Miyazaki, Lupin the Third, etc. And yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that for the time being. Mash it and smash it, signing off.